The date is May 31st, 2023. I just got a message from the U.S. Mint, Jack Sermon of the Bullion Program. And I am going to call him right now and ask him questions about what's going on. Here we go.
Bix Weir.
Jack, how are you?
I'll spend a couple of months in D.C., a couple of months on the West Coast, and they pretty much Treasury pretty much lets me do my thing. I've got 35 years in.
Wow.
I run their bullion business, and I have for 35 years.
Well, good.
So
you're the man.
Guy. And they just they don't want to let go of me because they can't find anyone to replace me.
Isn't that a great position to be in?
Yeah, and so they said, you can work from home, you can do whatever you want. So I'm pushing 70, but I don't mind it. I got a couple of guys that run most of the trading desk for me. And then we've got some, they're kind of junior, which is why nobody was able to answer any of your questions.
Okay.
Which none of which are secret by any means, and I'm happy to tell you what's going on with the Mint's silver bullion market if you're so interested.
I am absolutely interested. There's all kinds of rumors and scuttlebutt. Why can't we get eagles? Why do we have to pay double the price? And
right, are you just a private investor, or are you?
I'm a private investor, and I got a website about investing, like a blog type of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so the story is, your federal government has been making these since 1986,
mm-hmm.
and you were kind of right, but when you said the Mint was supposed to be making them to demand, the original enabling legislation that Congress passed did in fact say that the Treasury, through its Bureau, the Mint, would produce these coins to meet market demand. That's true. What you're apparently not aware of is that legislation was amended a number of years ago.
Mm-hmm. And that the amendment was so that the Treasury Secretary could decide whether or not they were meeting demand.
Well, basically, it basically kind of that, but it basically went from the U.S. Mint will meet demand to the Secretary shall produce them in quantities that the Secretary deems appropriate.
Deems that meet demand, right?
No, that the Secretary deems appropriate.
Okay.
So there's nothing in there about the Secretary trying to meet demand.
No.
Do we strive to meet demand? Of course we do.
Okay.
Because the more we sell, the more we make.
Right.
And the more we make, by and large, any profit generated through the Mint's bullion program is by and large returned to Treasury, to the general fund, to help reduce the national debt.
Right. Well,
so our interest is to sell as much as possible. So that bit of history here is, prior to 2008, and you know what 2008 was all about, of course, right?
Unfortunately, I do, yeah.
Prior to 2008, so between 1986 and 2008, the Mint was producing these silver eagles, and typically there before 2008, the most we would sell, in other words, market demand, never really exceeded 10 million ounces.
Right.
That was it. And then 2008 came about, and it wasn't a matter of demand jumping 10 or 15% a year, which the Mint could have handled. Demand jumped exponentially.
Right.
And the Mint went from selling 10 million a year to, I think by 2015, it was close to 50 or 50.
I remember when you guys were in the middle of that, and I was telling everybody, get your silver eagles. It's a beautiful coin. It's the best coin in the world.
So yes, there is history of the Mint making close to 50 million silver eagles a year. But then demand fell off, and the big question internally, of course, was how far will demand fall off? Because the Mint by then was earning, millions of dollars and billions of dollars in revenue and millions of dollars in profit by then, and so it had come to rely on its bullion program to generate a lot of profit, a lot of revenue and profit for the U.S. Mint. So the big question was, we know it's not going to stay at 50 million, but is it going to drop back to 10 million pre-2008, which would be a disaster for the U.S. Mint? Mm-hmm. But by and large, everyone agreed that it will fall back to some new equilibrium level, and that level over the years seemed to come down to, I would say, close to around 14 million. Yeah. That seemed to be the new low, and we got to a point a few years ago where demand was only 14 million.
Okay. Yeah, that was
and we met that demand.
Right.
Now that demand has started going north again. There seems to be another paradigm shift in demand again, and demand is certainly north of 30 million a year. And the way we know that, Bix, is we talk to our primary dealers. Just like Treasury sells auctions off bills and notes and wholesale quantities to primary dealers, the Mint sells its bullion coins through a small group of primary dealers.
Right.
We have a fancy name that we made up. We happen to call them authorized purchasers, but in the financial industry, from where I came, I still call them primary dealers because that's what they are. They're primary dealers.
And that's where the market is really coming from, because they're seeing the demand, but they're not getting the coins. So
no, the market, the coins are sold at a fixed premium to the primary dealers.
Right.
And I don't know if you know what it is.
It was $3 for a while, but I don't know what it is now.
Yeah, I think it's about $2.95. Okay. So that's public information. That's no secret. And then once the primary dealers have them, the Mint is out of it. The Mint, the federal government is not going to come in and regulate what a private sector company is going to charge.
Absolutely, I agree.
So once we sell to the primary dealers at $2.95 an ounce, and they'll go get them at the West Point Mint where they're struck, then a premium charge to investors is a function of two things. How many the investor is buying? Are you calling some precious metals dealer and saying, "Oh, I want to buy silver eagles," and they say, "How many?" 10.
Yeah.
They're going to go, "Well, not interested."
Right.
Or are you a guy that's saying, "I want 100, 200, 3?" 100 is sort of an investment quantity. So It's like Costco. The more you buy, the lower the premium.
Right.
And same thing in precious metals. And then that's number one. And then the second thing that governs it, as you know, is supply and demand. And since demand has started to go back up, the Mint, and it's no secret, the Mint has said this, the Mint can no longer meet demand. But
why? I mean, you did in 2020. You made 30 million coins. In 2021, you made 28 million. And then in 2022, all of a sudden, it's 15.9. And then right now, you're projected for 12. So you guys are going in the opposite direction.
There's a lot of moving parts to this.
Right.
Some of it has to do with the fact that, bullion coins are struck on what's called a 3/9 fine blank. Mm-hmm. And, back in 2008 and a few years after that, the bullion, silver bullion coin was the primary taker of 3/9 fine blank. We also produced a proof version of the bullion version, which back in the day when I used to run that program would maybe generate $800,000 a year. Mm-hmm. And then also produced what was called an uncirculated version.
Right.
Both uncirculated and proof are both numismatic, what we call numismatic versions.
Right.
And those numismatic versions, as you're probably aware, can be purchased directly from the mint. So back then, those numismatic versions plus bullion was the primary offtake for all the silver 3/9 blanks that we could get.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, the mint has introduced a lot of other programs that now utilize a 3/9 fine blank.
Mm-hmm.
So now all of a sudden, my Silver Eagle Bullion program is competing with all these other numismatic programs that the mint has that also need a 3/9 silver blank. And the kicker for all of this is there is only one supplier.
Sunshine.
And they're the only one that the mint has had for I don't know how long.
Right.
And the mint has been telling Congress and anybody who comes screaming at the mint, it's a very political town. So when we have a Democratic administration like we do now, you have the Republicans on the Hill coming after the mint and saying, you're mismanaging the federal government's bullion program. Demand is 35 million. You're only producing 12 million. I want congressional hearing. It goes on and on and on and on. And then if the Republicans are in power, the Democrats are going to say the same thing. Doesn't matter who's in office, what administration it is. The bottom line is there is only one supplier. And the mint has been saying to everyone or anybody on Capitol Hill that's asked about it and or the public that we are dutifully, exploring other potential blank manufacturers and suppliers. The mint has been saying that for 10, 15 years.
I know that, yeah.
And it's simply, and it's not my swim lane. It's in the mint's procurement office. I'm on the trading desk. I don't run the mint's procurement business.
Right. So
that's the China wall between me and them.
Right.
And so they've been saying they've been trying to find suppliers for 10, 15 years, and they've been unable to do so. So the number of coin programs within the mint that require a 3/9 fine blank has proliferated, and that's why the mint has to allocate whatever number of blanks it can get from Sunshine. It has to divide them up between bullion, proof eagle, uncirculated eagle, the new Morgan silver dollar which is a legislated program, right?
Well, so's the
we
silver
don't have
bullion.
we don't have the option not to make it. We are required.
Wait. Isn't the silver bullion program the same exact legislated program that you have to? I mean, I'm reading the law right now. The changed law. It does say secretary determines, true, are sufficient to meet public demand. It still says that in the law, and yet. And you did it in 2020, what was it, 2021 and 2020. I mean, 2020 you made 30
million or so, something like that.
21 you made 28. And then all of a sudden, after the redesign kicked in, it was massive allocation issues. I talked to Sunshine Mint, and he says they've never been busier. But most of the blanks they're making are going to other mints, like the Royal, the Maple Leaf has overtaken the Silver Eagle, and it's just so sad to see.
I know. I mean, for someone that's been here for 35 years and seeing the Silver Eagle be the global leader in this investment, silver bullion
for your whole career,
and so unfortunately. That's where we're at. I'm only given so many blanks, at the beginning of the year. There are certainly folks well above my pay grade that make the determination which programs in the mint get how many blanks. And so, yes, it is an internal mint management decision to only produce. I think this year, it's going to be. Originally it started out at about 14 million.
You're on track for 12.9.
and now we recently acquired another 4 million. So we're going to start allocating those into the marketplace. So I'm not sure what the final number will be. It will be under 20.
Yeah. So
certainly,
I mean, clearly, someone's making the decision. I mean, the demand's there. We all agree on that.
yes.
And people are still buying Eagles at $15 markups, which is crazy to me. But at the same time, if you can't get the coins, I mean, that's where the problem is. And I mean, to me, this all started in the middle of 2021. That's when the decline really happened, right after the change out to the new design. And
Yeah.
and it literally dropped in half, and
Yeah.
and has not come back at all.
What you might want to take a look at is what were the competing 3/9 fine numismatic platform programs that came out around that time.
Right.
One of the bigger ones was I think it was the Morgan piece. I think that was struck on that 3/9.
That's sold out quickly, right?
So suddenly, senior management within the U.S. Mint has got all these coin programs that has to produce, and they're all struck on the same blank, and they only have one supplier.
Right.
So senior management has to make a decision who gets what.
See, but that's not the law.
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it's the right decision.
Right.
Obviously, I'm the product manager for the Mint's bullion business, and I would prefer to get all the blanks.
Right. But the law is very clear, even after it was changed, such that the U.S. Treasury Secretary gets to decide. But the language of the law is very clear, just like the other programs that are mandated. This says, notwithstanding any other provision of law, the Secretary shall mint and issue in qualities and quantities that the Secretary determines are sufficient to meet public demand. I mean,
well, there you go. Well, you might be right. I haven't read the legislation in a long time.
Right.
I mean, the other curious question is, when the decisions are made within the bureau, the U.S. Mint is a bureau of the Department of. So we're a bureau. So the bureau is making the decisions on how many Silver Eagle bullion coins it will make, and it will allocate into the marketplace.
Right.
And so someone astute, such as yourself, would think, because I asked the same question internally, is if you regurgitate the enabling legislation that you just did, then my question has always been, so who is telling the Secretary, Yellen, right now, who is telling Yellen how many we plan on producing?
Yeah.
Number one,
she made a commercial about Silver Eagles too.
And number two, also conveying to her what demand is. So
yeah,
is the Secretary even aware? And it would be up to the Bureau to inform her what demand is. And I don't know the answer to that. I would be surprised if she has been briefed on what demand is.
I would think she is, because she did make a commercial for the Silver Eagles. I love that commercial. She's like, this is great for collectors and all this. I'm like, well, why don't you make them for collectors? Oh, from this end, it's so frustrating to see my face. I mean, I'm benefiting because I have mostly Silver Eagles, and they're like, I can sell them for double the price. But to see the program implode the way it has and become number 2 or number even 3, I don't know. I don't even know if it's number 2 still in the world as far as popularity. It leaves a sour taste in all my customers' mouths. Everybody Absolutely. I talk to is like, oh my God, what is happening at the Mint?
And you can imagine someone like me, that came here 35 years ago, came from the financial industry, and brought this program from zero awareness to the number 1 traded bullion coin in the world, to seeing what's happened to it now after 35 years. You can imagine I can't. It's hard for me to witness what's happened, and I got to tell you, I don't see any remedy in sight.